Today, I have a review for you of the Bowie graphic novel. This is by Steve Horton, Mike Allred, with colors by Laura Allred. I bought this book when it first came out, and I meant to read it right away, but it just didn't happen. And I think that was a mistake because maybe my expectations were a little too high for this, but I really thought this was not well written at all, which is a shame because the art is gorgeous. I think this is worth picking up as a David Bowie fan and just enjoying the art. And honestly, the art is probably the main reason I am considering still giving this 3 stars. I keep on going back and forth, when it comes time to give a star rating on Goodreads. I don't know, maybe I won't give a star rating. I don't know. But I love the art. As a record of Bowie's early career, and more on that in a second, I think this looks really great. The problem is, I think that they were trying to go for an old style comic book biopic to kind of match the look of Allred's art, which does have sort of a vintage feel to it, sort of an old time comic book feel to it. So it's very basic. It's mostly a relating of events. But what I think is actually worse is when people do have dialogue, I was cringing honestly through this whole book. It does the things that biopics do that I find very irritating. And what do I mean by that? I mean, there are multiple scenes where David Bowie meets someone. He's like, "Oh, hello, Peter Frampton." And he's like, "Yes, I am Peter Frampton." And he's like, "You are very good at guitar." We wander off to other people for a panel or two, like other well known musicians at the time, to kind of check in with what they're doing, whether it relates to Bowie or not. And just the sort of capricious nature of how that those moments are picked out is weird, and it kind of just takes me out of the story. Plus, this only takes you up to the end of Ziggy Stardust, and there's a lot more of David Bowie's career after that. The rest of his career, which is decades, is covered pretty much through the epilogue, which is mostly a lot of one page or spreads. I can't remember which one. These big, beautiful kind of collages of different images from Bowie's career, which are great, are beautiful. And honestly, I feel like this book, if it just didn't have any words, I think I might even like it better. So I'm keeping this book. I will flip through this book from time to time, but I'm never going to read it again because it does provide a Wikipedia's article worth of David Bowie history. And it is interesting in that way on a very basic level. But combined with just some very clunky dialogue, I felt like it was written for children. And I just felt kind of, I don't know, left very uninvolved. I flipped through it. I looked at the pictures. They were pretty. I read the facts. It doesn't feel like a story to me. It doesn't feel like dots were connected. And in fact, sometimes certain dots are connected, suggesting that Bowie did, one thing because of this thing. I'm like, is that doesn't, well, what does that have to do with one another? It has a very good rating, so I may be in the minority. But as a huge Bowie fan, I guess I wanted something kind of like Moonage Daydream, which was the film that came out not too long ago that was released on Criterion, where it felt like the filmmaker was inspired by Bowie to attempt a movie that felt different, that did something different. This is not that, and perhaps it was unfair for me to expect that, but I got to tell you, I left pretty disappointed with this.